A couple of you guys wanted my thoughts on this new controversy between Richie Incognito and Jonathan Martin. And Mr. Richie apparently has gone off again and said, racial slurs towards Mr. Martin and, basically just bullying and antagonizing him. And this is not the first time that we've heard certain antics from Richie Incognito. This is this guy's personality. He goes around and he aggravates people. And, a couple of things I'm hearing out here, whether it be on TV or as YouTube videos or just in my personal life, a lot of people are basically going after Jonathan Martin because he spoke up and said something. Or they're saying, he's being a baby. Why is he complaining about this big-ass football player complaining? I think especially with black men, we're always told to suppress our feelings. We're always told, to stand down. If something's bothering you or someone calls you a nigger or insults you, just to stay in the background. Don't get anybody in the uproar. Don't speak up and speak out for yourself. Basically just suppress your feelings and act like it's not there or pray. These are the type of things that's told to the black community as a whole, but especially black men, because they want to basically keep us mentally as a little boy. And like I said, this is not the first time that he's pulled these type of stunts. He said certain things to other football players, and going back to what I was saying that I'm hearing, a lot of people are saying he shouldn't have said anything, or they're saying that Richie and Jonathan were best friends off of the football field, and he should man up and stop crying. But the thing is that if he felt insulted by the things that Richie was saying, then he had the right to speak up and speak out about it. A lot of times, when you have certain professions, especially football, or boxing or something like that, people think you're supposed to be this Superman character all the time, and you don't have feelings or you don't have emotions or things that upset you. I played football pretty much my whole life, from 7 years old all the way up to the college level, and even though you got guys that are 300 something pounds, even some are even hitting 400s, big swole type of dudes, these guys still have feelings. I can remember playing football with certain cats, and maybe the guy is fast and he can catch the ball, but he's scared to get tackled. I'll see cats running off to the sidelines because they're scared to get tackled, all kind of shit. So just because somebody has a certain type of career doesn't mean that they're supposed to suppress certain feelings that they have. They're supposed to be macho all the time. And another thing that's I find to be very strange, and it goes to show you the mindset of a lot of black people in this country. You got cats in the Miami Dolphin locker room saying, I know Richie Incognito, he's a good guy. This is not in his character. Maybe he just made a mistake, or maybe everyone's blowing it out of proportion. Basically giving him cover to the fact that he insulted this man. Then you got people saying, he's not acting like a black man. Basically saying, because this man has parents that studied at Harvard, or come from a certain background, or because he's mixed, he's not considered a black man. At the end of the day, whether you're mixed with white or whatever, if you look black and your skin color is a certain complexion, you will get treated like a nigga in this country. It doesn't matter who the hell you are. So, I just find that to be funny that you have a lot of people that are black, on the Miami Dolphin squad, that are basically, don't give a damn about Jonathan Martin the way he feels. Just like, he should have stand down. He should have just kept it between the organization. And they're basically giving Richie Incognito cover to the fact that he insulted this man. This is not the first time this has happened. He's gone off and insulted people before. Now, if I was on the football team, I probably would have knocked him on his ass. Because, when I was playing, I was very aggressive. A lot of times, because of the type of, I would say, neighborhood I came from, it was a very tough neighborhood. I wasn't going to take any bullshit. And there's a certain element of that's a part of me now, since I'm more cautious about my decisions before I do them. But I would have knocked him on his ass, And, it's just about, us being respectful. You don't let no guy or no woman or anybody insult you or your ethnicity, or call you a nigga, and then pat you on your back and say, oh, let's go get a cup of coffee and everything's cool. You stand up for yourself. And I just find it odd how we have people in our society that give white people cover, or people of other ethnicity, when they insult our people. But if we do something to somebody else, all hell breaks loose. So, I think that, this Richie character needs to be seriously reprimanded, if not kicked off out of the NFL completely. Although I don't think that'll happen, because like I said, in America, people give certain people cover. And there is things called white supremacy. So I doubt that happens. But at the same time, this guy seriously needs to be reprimanded. If you're going to go after cats like Michael Vick and Mike Tyson and all these other black athletes out here that have been ridiculed in the media, then you need to ridicule his ass. I don't want nobody sitting up out there talking about, oh, we need to let it go, or we need to give him the benefit of the doubt. That's bullshit. This man has a history record of getting on camera. We've caught him on camera saying certain derogatory things or treating people a certain type of way on the team. It's because nobody stands up to his ass. But, that's my 2 cents on this character. He needs to be reprimanded. And for those out there that feel like Jonathan Martin is being less of a man because he came out and he spoke about this situation, you guys need to reevaluate yourselves. I don't care if, they were so-called friends outside the situation. That doesn't mean you don't have issues with people that you so-called call friends. And a lot of these people, if you have to question their respect towards you or the type of comments that they make towards you, you need to analyze whether they're really your friend. Because I'll be damned if I have, a friend that's calling me a nigga or insulting me or, basically just downplaying me as a human being, as a man. I'll be damned if I allow that to go on. So, that's my 2 cents on this. But I'm out. You guys can give me your feedback if you like.